Okay, so on this one now, they're asking us to do a couple of square roots here. So let's do this first one. So they want me to square root 64 p to the 36. So let's do the number part first off. The square root of 64 is just 8, because 8 times 8 is 64. So there's the number part of the answer. Now, what do we do with the letters? Cut power in half. It'll be p to the 18th. I just took 36 divided by 2, and I got 18. So you square root the number in the front, and you cut the power in half. Now, I'll be giving some reasons why on more difficult problems in a minute. Let's do the next one. Square root of 25. It's going to be 5. Okay, and then what about x to the 48? You cut the power in half. That's going to be x to the 24. And there's no more root. We did the root. So you square root the number in the front, cut the power in half. But again, yeah, even right now, I don't like teaching math this way. Let me give the reason why. I don't want to just say, this is the rule, Mr. Heron says so, follow it. How boring, how dumb, how hard to remember if it's just some boring, stupid rule somebody made up. It's not. It's truth and logic. It makes sense, but let me help you see the sense of it. What is a square? Let's go back to what a square root really is. What's the square root of 9? 3. And why? What if a younger child, like a 6-year-old, say, hey, why? Why is the square root, or maybe an 8-year-old? So why is the square root of 9 3? What would you say? You'd say, look, kid, just do what I say. Don't bug me with your dumb questions. No. You would say, why is the square root of 9 3? Because 3 times 3 is 9, right? So I'm just making sure we get really clear in our minds, what is a square root? It asks, what times itself is this thing, right? So now let's think about the letters. What would be like the square root of x to the 6, for example? Well, remember what we just agreed square roots do. They say, what times itself is this thing? That's why the square root of 9 is 3, because what times itself is 9? 3. So what times itself is x to the 6? The answer is x to the 3rd. Because what? Because x to the 3rd times x to the 3rd is x to the 6th. Or maybe you don't remember. What is x to the 3rd? 3 x's. What's the other x to the 3rd? 3 x's. So what do you got there? 6 x's, huh? You see, x to the 3rd times x to the 3rd is x to the 6th. So therefore, the square root of x to the 6th, like what times itself is x to the 6th, is certainly x to the 3rd. That times itself is x to the 6th, isn't it? See how it's the same logic, same reasoning? That's what I enjoy about math. They don't really change the rules on it, but they make you carefully, truthfully follow the principle. That is the principle, isn't it? What times itself is this thing? So for powers, we just cut them in half. For numbers in front, we just root the number, because that's the same thing in both settings. What times itself is this thing? There we go.